Just a quick note before I get to the actual video. Through circumstances beyond my control, Hobby Shop 1983 will be delayed through the first week of July. I apologize. I know I've been talking about it for months, and it was going to be in June, and it was going to be in June, and I have started production. I simply will not have the ability to get far enough in to start Hobby Shop 1983 until the first week of July. Sorry, life gets in the way sometimes, and you have to deal with it, and family comes first. Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at Gargoyle 74 by Stellagama Publishing. I want to thank Stellagama for sending this my way so I could take a look at it. Says that it is a classic fantasy role-playing game by Tamir Levi and Omer Golan Joel. I apologize, gentlemen, if I mispronounced your names. I'm doing it phonetically. So it states in the opening, this is published in 2023. It's available right now. I'll put some links below. And it states openly that it is a classic fantasy role-playing game rule set, no fluff included, inspired by the wondrous customizability of the 1974 white box set of the original fantasy role-playing game. We all know what that means. And the riveting pulp tales of Clark Ashton Smith, Robert E. Howard, Michael Moorcock, and many others. These rules are designed to disappear during play. And it was kind of neat. When I was reading through this, I have to say, they do kind of disappear. It felt a lot like the little white boxes when I first started playing the original game published in 1974. I began in 80, and my very first game was with the little white boxes. And then we played kind of a hybrid between the white box sets and the Holmes blue box set. And then, but later in 80, we transitioned over to first edition. So this was trying to recreate that feel from the 70s through the early 80s, where people were still playing the white box set. And you know what? It landed. Your stats are strength, intelligence, intuition, dexterity, constitution, and charisma. All pretty familiar to us, with only one change in there, intuition. We have classes. We have hit points and hit dice. Combat bonuses, armor classes, saving throws, everything that one might be familiar with. The only regret I have in getting this book now is I didn't get this book 40 years ago. I love this kind of a book, and I don't have the same group of friends I had in the early days of D&D, where I would have just taken this book over to my buddy's house, and we would have sat up in his bedroom, and we would have played a couple of quick rounds of this game. I don't have that kind of a group anymore. Nobody does once they're adults. And that's my only regret with this book. I would love to just sit down with somebody in an afternoon and just crack this. So my sons have to be on alert. They might get tagged for an afternoon session with this. It's really neat. It's talking about our first class is the cleric. They can turn and destroy undead, how to turn the undead, what level they are, what hit dice they get. This is just such old school. Here we go to the fighter. Very straightforward. You get combat bonus right there. The mage. We didn't call them magic users. That's okay. The mage. I call them mages all the time. The rogue. And it's only a page plus an illustration, pretty much. And then we have the optional rules. So basically we have the 4 food groups as our character classes in this. Now, I'm sure they plan on expanding this, but it was kind of neat to see what we used to call the 4 food groups. And then we get equipment. Oh, did I skip something there? The effects of chronological age on characters. So as your character ages. And then we get equipment. All your standard starting stuff. Weaponry. Your henchmen. Who didn't go in with... You always had henchmen. Henchmen and hirelings. I've done a video on them. Very important, especially in first edition of this wonderful old game. Here we get some general game rules for experience points. This be for awarding experience. How to wilderness travel, weather, food and water, hunting, falling, listening. It's really nice to just see nice, clean, quick rules on this. Traps, sneaking, dungeons and monsters, but still sneaking and swimming and diving underwater. A lot of this stuff, when we originally started playing in 80, when I started playing, we had to make up the rules as we went along because a lot of this wasn't covered because these books were so limited at the time. It's kind of neat to actually go back to those days. They were simpler. And the idea that the rules would kind of vanish in play, yeah, they used to. Uh, they just kind of did. You just were playing. Combat, Chapter 5. Optional rule, reaction, the attack roll, the damage roll. All the stuff that we're familiar with is right here in a quick play guideline. Optional rules, guidelines for one-on-one play, referee, and a single player. Look at that. Maybe two-thirds of a page devoted to that. Magic and spells, creating magical items. All very simple. Cleric scrolls. Cleric spells. So we have power level A, B, C, D. That's it. Mage spells. Power level A, B, C, D, E. Keeping alive the mage spells going higher than the cleric spells. Monsters. How to use monsters. Combat bonus. A monster's combat bonus is equal to its hit dice. So if a monster has 9 hit dice, its combat bonus is plus 9. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then we have an actual monsters, the Antediluvian. I kind of like this. Preceded humanity by aeons. That's a definite Robert E. Howard influence there. The Banshee, Basilisk, Bear. All this felt a lot like the old school. This is really where I kind of went, wow, this feels real old school. It is an OSR game, so I guess it succeeded there. Having the monster manual right in here, and it's a good chunk of the book. I'm not going to dwell on each individual monster, but this is a quick set of rules. If you wanted to play this, say it was an evening gathering, maybe you have a gaming group, but you play board games and other things, this would be one you could introduce painlessly. Have the characters waiting and just have people who've never played before just go ahead and enjoy themselves. I really think that's what this is designed for. Ton of monsters to choose from. This reminds me of a certain old monster manual. And then continuing on, or the S's, we even get a Sturge, one of my favorite low-level monsters. The Vampire, ooh, cool picture of a vampire. Unicorn, white. Oh, just zombie. And then we get Appendix A, the non-humans, the Antediluvians. Humans are not the first race to rise. There were people before us. They were Antediluvians. Can represent ancient pre-human races such as Michael Moorcock's Melniboeans. I've never known how to say that word. Melniboeans. And they represent the elves of Nordic myth, who are just weird fey creatures and not pointy-eared people. We have the dwarf. Lizardkin. No elves? Didn't notice it the first time through. No elves. That's okay. I had a DM who used to kind of punish us if we played elves. He was also the one that punished us if we threw fireball. He had a different view of things. Then we get down to the treasure. All kinds of, we got potions, weapons, unique enchanted weapons, armor. Just really nice. Just well put together. Very quick to go through. You're not going to bury yourself in rules. Even reading this, you're not going to get crushed. We've got what's in the dungeons. So what's in rooms 1, 2, 3, 4. You keep going. Gives you nice little descriptors. This takes you back to the day when you really didn't know what role-playing games were. And there's your character sheet. Very quick to fill out. Very old school. Reminds me very much of how we used to look at the characters. And there's the back of the book. Inspired by the wondrous customizability of the 74 white box set, as I said, these rules are designed to disappear during play. Yeah, I think they succeeded. I think this would be a great thing if, like I say, you have a non-gaming group that's going to get together for whatever reason to play a game. This would be a good way to introduce them to old school role-playing. Nice gateway to a ton of other old school role-play games out there. It doesn't have to go into the obvious one. It can stay with others. Or it can just stay with Stellagama. I am assuming that they plan on supporting this with their own little fantasy world, which I'm looking forward to. So there we have it, Gargoyle 74 from Stellagama Publishing. As I said, I want to thank you folks for sending this book my way to go through. I thoroughly enjoyed the read, and wow, what a trip back to the earliest days. I didn't own the little white box at first. I remember borrowing my buddy's copy of it and sitting on my couch in my parents' house and reading it and just marveling at all the wonders that waited between the covers. And this book took me back to that. So I want to say thank you guys. That was a nice return to a friendlier, less power-hungry time. I guess I'll say it that way. So Gargoyle 74, I'll put some links below on where to get this. I think it's available through Drive-Thru RPG as both PDF and a print on demand, but I'll put the link below. So thank you for watching. If you have any comments or anything, please leave them below. Please like the video, and I'll see you next time on page 121.